Okay, it's now the top of the hour, so let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to today's webinar. Today we're going to be talking about 5 easy ways that you're going to be able to take your website design from kind of good to really great. So thank you for taking the time to join us today. Just a few housekeeping matters before we get started. This webinar is being recorded and will be made available to you shortly after the presentation, so there's no need to take notes unless you'd like to do so. And in the event that you're having any issues with the audio or visual components of this webinar, please use the raised hand feature in the GoToWebinar control panel, or you can go ahead and type us a message and we'll try to get that resolved for you as quickly as possible. So my name is Drew Mancini, and I'm the Digital Marketing Manager here at Lawlytics. I have a background as a marketing consultant for solos and small law firms in digital marketing practices, as well as branding. And now I continue to enjoy helping to make marketing more accessible and enjoyable for attorneys by helping to create those resources that ultimately work to demystify successful marketing practices. So today we're going to be talking about those 5 easy ways you can take your website design from good to great. You might be in that place right now where you have a good website, maybe it looks really good and your potential clients are resonating with it, but maybe it's not reaching its maximum potential on Google searches, or maybe it's not really working to convert your visitors, or maybe there's just something that's lacking a little bit and you're not really sure what. So in this webinar, we're going to be showing you what your potential clients actually need from your law firm website. We're going to go through 5 website design elements that can help boost your site's conversion power. And then we're also going to talk about how to know when you need a new website, which could be the case for you. So starting first with what your potential clients actually need from your website. And it first starts with understanding what the high quality user experience is. And a high quality user experience for your potential clients is a website that is familiar, approachable, and actionable. Effective law firm websites are built to be informative and generate new business for your firm, right? Your potential clients have likely found your firm's website because they're dealing with some sort of important legal issue and they're ultimately just looking for guidance on what their next step is or if they have any next step to take. And as an attorney, you should really be focusing on the elements of your website that easily convey who you are and who you help, so that potential clients can feel confident in their decision to hire you. So again, what your potential clients really need from your website is to achieve that high quality user experience, meaning that your website needs to be familiar, actionable, and approachable. Familiar is really just referring to the degree to which your website matches with what a potential client is expecting when visiting your website, which we'll be getting into a little bit more detail in just a bit. Approachability is going to be the level at which a potential client can feel comfortable reading and digesting your website's information. And this can often just mean avoiding using any legal jargon as much as possible. And you always need to accompany legal terms with plenty of explanations and examples if you do need to use that legal jargon. And then you also want to keep your content as client focused as possible to show potential clients that your firm cares about them and that you can actually solve their legal problem. And then lastly, that actionable part is those calls to action or your click to call phone numbers that we'll also be talking about in more detail later on in this webinar. So those are the basic 3 things that your website really needs and that your potential clients want from your website. And then now let's talk about those 5 website design elements that are going to be easy for you to implement on your website that can really help you convert more of your web visitors into paying clients for your firm. And that first design element is smart formatting. And this is really just about intuitive navigation. The information on your website should flow logically, and the pages should be organized under pillar topics and subcategories. If it ultimately takes more than 3 clicks for a web visitor to get to their desired page, you need to simplify your navigation. Headers on all of your pages are going to help Google index your pages and understand the relevance of your content to a search query. They're also essential to readers to understand the key concepts of your web page, and they help support the structure and style of your website. You also want to prioritize information on each page of your website. So your web visitors aren't likely going to your web pages and reading them word for word. So you want to make it easy for them to get the main idea of a page at just a glance. This is most commonly and easily done by using bulleted lists to explain complex or lengthy concepts. There's also internal linking, which is beneficial to both your potential clients and it's favorable by Google. So the use of links throughout your pages will aid in further exploration of your website. It's going to help answer the questions of your potential clients, and it's also going to keep them on your website for longer. So the internal linking you've seen a lot of times. It's just where certain keywords on the page are hyperlinked because there is an extra resource about that term or that concept that's somewhere else on the website. This helps the potential client explore a little bit more organically, but then it's also keeping them on your website for longer and much more increasing your conversion capability. And then this last one is going to seem a bit obvious, but it's important that your content and that your site looks extremely professional. And an easy way to achieve this is the use of clear fonts and in highly readable colors. So you don't want any extreme surprises or extreme creativity, unfortunately, in your law firm website. You want it to be, again, very approachable and familiar, and a lot of that is going to be in just the visual aspects of how the content is displayed on the page. And then you have your visual elements. Those are your image sliders, the videos on your website, and basically just all of the extra stuff. A potential client's first impression of your firm is super important, and your website is going to help to quickly position you as the right choice if you use smart and informed visual elements. And the first thing I'll say about this is that less is going to be better. I included this image here on the left because I really like this example of a Lawlytics website for this attorney's use of color, the very simple design, and the overall professional feel. Less is better in this case of a legal website because the use of unnecessary and flashy design elements, such as those excessive image sliders or excessive videos, or the use of pop-up elements, might actually be working to block the reader from the page. And not only do these elements confuse and distract your web visitor, but it's going to also slow down your page load speed and then lead to more site bounces as a result. So you want to keep things super streamlined. You don't want to block anyone's access to a page, and you want to just keep it simple so that page is loading fast. Next, you want to be intentional with your color choices throughout your entire website. Color is super useful for evoking emotion, facilitating a logical order of information, and then also directing your potential clients to your call to action on that page. Understanding color and what it communicates to your potential clients or how it influences their experience is important to the success of your website. We've talked about this a bit before. We've had webinars in the past about color theory and your website and how it can influence your potential clients and how they respond to your website. But if you want to learn more about this, we do have a blog post about this if you want to search on our website just for a little bit more information. And then we also want to use the right images and videos. Too many images on your website can overwhelm your web visitors or just distract them from the information that you're providing them. And then also, on the other hand, low quality or generic images tend to feel unprofessional or can give a negative first impression to your potential clients. What we're seeing more and more now is the use of AI generated images, which is fine. These are usually royalty free, and then you can use them for free on your website. But you still want to be careful about the fact that you don't want these to kind of lean into the inauthentic territory. You want to still feel like these images are true to your branding, how you're wanting your firm to come across to potential clients, and you still want it to feel humanistic and not so AI. So if you're looking to use AI generated photos, just make sure that it's still tied to how you want to be represented on your website. And then you also want to focus on displaying images on your website when appropriate to ensure that they're high quality, engaging, and relevant to the general page topic, meaning that you don't want to just slap a bunch of images on the page that aren't relevant to the content on the page. If your blog doesn't really necessarily need more than one image, then don't add more than one image. It's just going to slow down the page load speed, and it's also going to take the website visitor longer to get to the point of the content. The next design element that we have are your calls to action. Part of creating a positive user experience for your firm's website is guiding your web visitors to a call to action with clear visual and written cues. Your potential clients are looking for answers to their legal questions, but then they also need to know what their next step is after they decide to get in touch with you. And in doing this, you really want to think about the why for why a potential client should reach out to your firm, and make sure that you are coming up with something that is very clear. And these are really just purposeful calls to action. So contact us if you've been injured at work, for example, or schedule a free consultation for a quote on your will, or sign up for our newsletter. Just think about where you can be more specific with these instead of call us now or contact us today. You want to give them that reason for why they actually should be giving up their email address or phone number or other contact information. And then the other thing about calls to action is that they can be delivered to your web visitors and your potential clients in a few different ways throughout your website. So for example, you want to include a call to action in the final paragraph of every piece of written content. This is a missed opportunity for you if you haven't done this in your current content. Your call to action doesn't always need to be a fancy click box and field for the potential client to fill out, but maybe it's just a little reminder at the end of every piece of content that you have on your website. Hey, this is the information about this legal issue. We help with this. If you need help, reach out, just as a little reminder. And then the other type of call to action on your website is that you'll want to have are the click to call phone numbers. These also tend to be the easiest way to link your phone number in your written content, but then they can also be used in the header or footer of each page for quick access. So these are super convenient for all of your mobile users that you're going to have visiting your website. And the reality is that honestly, most of your web visitors are going to be on mobile devices, whether that's iPads or their cell phones. So if you provide click to call phone numbers in those headers, in those footers, and also in your written content, you're increasing your likelihood of them clicking on it and calling you right away. And then next we have fresh content. Not only do potential clients appreciate modern and attractive websites, they are going to expect it. And unfortunately, an outdated or a stale website can ultimately overshadow the fact that you are actually a competent and qualified attorney. And one major element of keeping your website looking fresh is going to be regularly posting new content. High quality written content signals to Google that your website is of value to its users, but it's also going to help those making relevant and local searches get matched with your website. So if you're posting consistently, you're kind of building your credibility with Google if you're creating content that people are resonating with and that's matching with their searches. So you post the new content, Google rewards it with matching it with your searches or with potential client searches. Those potential clients are clicking into your website, reading it, staying on your website and not bouncing, and then the response from Google gets more and or grows and grows in strength, and you can build that relationship with Google that your website is a good and strong resource for those Google users. And just a note on this content issue, which is, sometimes a pain point for law firms, especially solos and small law firms who are super busy. Maybe you were looking to add that new practice area, but you didn't have time to create new pages and really write out all of the information that a potential client would need to find about that practice area. Or maybe you are looking to make a new website and you don't have any practice area content. Lawlytics actually has a solution for this. We have a new smart content generation tool where it's this library of practice area topics. We have over 300 practice area topics across 20 practice areas, and they are highly optimized pieces of content that are completely customizable. So you go into the library, you customize the piece of content, and then it's ready for your website, ready to be published on your website. So it's been, since the launch of the tool, it's been really great to see attorneys create several pages of content in just one sitting. And it's really just effectively eliminating that battle between you and that blank page. And I'll show you guys an inside look on this tool a little later on, but just something to keep in mind if those are one of those things you're struggling with, as I know everyone is super busy with running their own practice. You can also keep your website updated with new case results and positive client reviews as another way to keep your content fresh. Case results are useful for potential clients to understand how you've helped others in similar legal issues and the work that you're committed to doing to get them that desired result. And client reviews also, in a similar way, provide powerful validation for potential clients when they're deciding whether you're the best fit for their needs. And then lastly, a fresh website design is going to help you deliver that best user experience as possible. Design refreshes with Lawlytics, again, are included with your membership and can be requested anytime on demand. This is part of your membership fee, which is a flat fee and as at no extra cost to you. And whether you're making a small change or a total design overhaul, you're going to just focus on design elements that create a positive emotional impact for your potential clients, such as visibility, accessibility, and comprehensive formatting. And then the last design element that we're going to talk about today is actually your backend optimizations. The backend of your website obviously isn't customer facing, but it's going to impact the user experience of your potential clients when they're visiting your firm's website. Lawlytics websites are optimized for page load speed and functionality. They're always up to date and secure and backed up to eliminate any sort of maintenance concerns. So if you are using a DIY, do-it-yourself website builder, or if you wanted to look into potential issues on your website's backend, I do have a few areas that are good to focus on to really see how your website is performing. The first place is going to be those 404 errors and any sort of broken pages. So if you have a non-functioning link on your firm's website, this can be super frustrating for your potential clients and it may lead them to abandon your site altogether. So you want to keep an eye out for any sort of malfunctioning link on your website if you're looking into the back end. And then the next thing you're going to do is test your page load speed. There's several free resources online that can help you with this. And as a rule of thumb, your pages should be loading in under 3 seconds to avoid a visitor abandoning your website. You also want to check, if you're checking your desktop load times, don't forget to check also your mobile device load times to confirm your website is functioning its best across all access points. Like we mentioned before, a lot of your potential clients are going to be accessing your website on some sort of mobile device. So you want to make sure that the page load speed is performing at its best on desktop and mobile. And then finally is your website performance data. This data can tell you a lot about how your website is functioning, but it can also help you to make better marketing decisions. So for example, this helps with marketing because say there was a blog post that regularly gets a lot of traffic for your website. This might be a sign to expand on that topic somewhere else on your website or maybe on your social media because there's already some interest generated by your potential clients around that topic. And again, ways that you can expand on it, maybe you would want to build out a blog series for your website, create a video around it for your website or social media, maybe do a social media series around the topic. You could write an ebook, create an email drip, or other marketing assets. Point being, knowing what pages are performing well on your website can be more informative than just being like, okay, check that web page is popular on my website. It actually can be very valuable as a marketing data point for you. And lastly, I want to talk about how you will know if you need a new website. If you've found any of the elements on our previous slides to be ultimately missing from your website right now, there may be a way to fix this quickly and affordably. But if there are some instances where a new website is just going to be the best option for your business due to the complexity or maybe even the severity of the issue. So the first thing that might be an indicator that you need a new website is that your website has been penalized. So if your website provider has engaged in any sort of unethical SEO hack for your website, such as things like link building or keyword stuffing, your website might be penalized by Google. These penalties are going to negatively affect your website's ranking on Google, and it's also going to make it more difficult for your potential clients to discover your website from relevant and local searches. Kind of like what we were talking about before with the content, there's just Google and your website have a very reciprocal relationship in that you provide a high quality website and Google provides you with visibility on its search engine. So if your website provider or maybe your marketing agency is engaging in any sort of unethical SEO practice that Google has already deemed a no-no for them, they're going to notice that, they're going to find out, and they're going to punish your website. So if any marketing agency or any marketer ever tries to sell you anything like link building or keyword stuffing, just say no and know that the best way to get your website ranking on Google is to provide Google with high quality content. The next part is if you or your website provider are, and the next thing I'll say about if you have been penalized. If you or your website provider can identify or resolve the issue that prompted that penalty, if you find out that you've been penalized, you might be able to restore your website's good standing with Google, but I will just say that it's not always easy to do and could take either a long time or it just might not be possible. And in that kind of waiting period, you could be keeping yourself from business opportunities. And then moving on, you might need a new website if your website is slow or unresponsive. A responsive website is going to be accessible, it's going to be functional, and it's going to be quick to load from any device. This is especially important, again, for mobile users like we talked about previously, who are likely to make up a good portion of your website visitors. If your website is not optimized for mobile, you're going to be losing out on business, and you should really be addressing this immediately due to the high volume of potential clients that are using their mobile devices. If your website has botched navigation or is extremely outdated in design, or your website is just confusing, this is going to be disorienting to potential clients. Like we mentioned earlier, your potential clients not only want that modern and attractive website, but they're just going to expect it if they find you from Google. You don't want to be losing out on that business just because your web visitors can't just get quickly to where they need to go. And last, you want to ask yourself how easy or fast it is for you to make simple changes to your website. If you find that it takes hours or days or weeks to make any changes, you might just need a new website provider. The time you're spending going back and forth with your website provider is ultimately time taken away from your clients and you growing your business. And then this, among any other red flags with your marketing provider, may be holding you back from reaching your marketing goals. So your firm's website is going to be the foundation of your digital marketing strategy, and a high quality and modern website is the first step to targeting your local and ideal client more efficiently and affordably. And it's going to anchor your marketing efforts into the new year as you strive toward growing your business. And what we see on the screen here is now you can get an instant firsthand look at what your website could look like with us using our new website design tool. This is just a handy tool for you all. You can browse various layouts, or you can customize the preview to your firm's branding and colors, and even toggle through different image options to really just get a feel of what your new website could look like. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link for this in the chat if you would like to check it out and play around and just kind of see what your options are with us. And just for these last few minutes, I'd like to take you on a quick tour of some of the features of our tech that I think attorneys will benefit the most from, kind of focusing on those 5 design elements that we were talking about today. And then I will get into any questions that we may have. So taking us into this tour. So right away, I'm just showing you all, this is our dashboard. So if you have a website with us, this is going to be kind of just your landing spot for making any sort of changes to your website. There's shortcuts to get to certain things, like maybe you needed to make a new blog post or a page, or get right into that content library that I mentioned. You can also see any sort of website performance reports, how your leads are doing, things like that. This is just kind of your landing spot for all of those things. But let's get into the back end of one of our websites. If you had multiple websites with us, this is kind of where they would all be for you, and then you can just click into whatever website you are looking to make edits for. And then this is what you will look at to see all of the content that's on your website. So on the left, this is basically just an up and down version of our horizontal navigation bar that's on the front end of the website. And then everything that's on the right is going to be the content that's on that page. So as I click through different pages, this is the content that's on that page. So just to show you the front end of this, to show you what I mean, again, we see horizontally across the top here is what we were seeing on the side. So that is our navigation bar. This example website has one design feature we mentioned earlier, that click to call phone number, the navigation bar, easy 3-click navigation, an image, some information about your firm. You have your practice areas. These are all clickable icons that you can customize, click and drag around in the back end to reorder, add, take away, things like that. And then we have a homepage call to action that is simple. Just contact our firm. These are contact forms that are very easily customizable on the back end of your site, and I'll show you what I mean by that. And then just the office location information. So that's just an example of a sample website with us. But going back to the back end, let me show you about creating those forms, because those are going to be your calls to action that are on your website that are outside of that written content. So for example, we have this sample contact us form. So this is just kind of all the fields that you would need to fill out on your end before it's ready to be published on your website. It's super straightforward and it's really easy. For example, if we wanted to create a new one, all we're going to do is give a title. So maybe, for example, we were talking about sign up for our newsletter, for example. Maybe this intro text is going to help give the why for why that person should give their email for the newsletter. Maybe say that, you know, we give a update on our happenings every week or something like that. Add a response message, or redirect URL if you desire them to go to a different page after they submit. And then you have your customizable form fields, which are really easy to rearrange. You can drag and drop. You can make them required or not required, make them different types of options. Maybe you wanted a drop down. You can get really super specific with these, or just keep it really simple. And then one of my favorite things about these forms creating these forms is that you can also assign a recipient. So if you have someone in your office that handles that newsletter or someone that directly deals with intake, you can just click here and make sure that they are receiving that submission once it's completed on your website. And then that keeps your operations a little bit more streamlined in the office. But then you can also export all your new form submissions to whatever case management system you have. So that is staying organized and you're on top of that as well. So that's just a little bit about creating a form on your website with Lawlytics. And then I also want to show you our SEO snapshot. So we talked a little bit about the backend optimizations that you need for your website to be actionable, approachable, and familiar, and ultimately delivering that high quality user experience. And a lot of this is the search engine optimization that goes into your website and basically all of these non-visible things that really impact your website's performance. So what we have done is we've created an SEO snapshot feature on the back end of your dashboard to help you see exactly everything that is being put into the search engine optimization for your website. Again, these are not always visible, and so this is just a way for us to keep SEO super transparent. We always want to follow best practices and let you all know how you are or how we are helping your website perform better on Google. So this snapshot is really just walks you through all the different ways that your website has been optimized. So you can see there's a checklist for completed optimizations, but then we also provide suggestions for optional optimizations to kind of keep or start for to help you take things a step further if you wish to do so. So there's categories like accessibility, content that we talked about. We talked about page speed, overall search engine visibility, your security, and your user experience. So just another little feature I wanted to show you all on how we keep SEO transparent with you all. And then lastly, I want to talk about creating a new page with the content library. So if you were under sites and you wanted to create a new page, of course you have the option to create something from scratch, but you can use a content template as well. These are, again, there's over 300 content topic or practice area topics in the content library across 20 practice areas. So to show you a bit about this, let's go into family law, for example. As you can see, everything's categorized into different topics under that practice area. And then if you wanted to click into one, you are immediately brought into the preview of the content, so you can kind of check it out before you decide to customize it. But basically on the left are all of the ways that this piece of content has been optimized for search engine performance. So for example, you have link opportunities, optimized subtitles. This helps clarify the legal process, and it will help demystify legal terms for your clients. And then on the right, we see the preview of the content, and then everything that's going to be customized are all of these words that are in blue. So if you're satisfied with this, you want to use this, all you do is click Use Template, and then on my end, I've already saved these entries in the past, so these are customized for me automatically, which also helps save me time. But as you can see, everything that was customized in these slots are already updated for me in blue on the right here. So I can kind of just take a look at this. My phone number has already been hyperlinked, so my mobile users can click to call. It's looking good. Oh, I have one term I need to fill out. So that would just depend on my jurisdiction. And then I'm immediately brought to, again, the back end of my website where I can make additional customizations and changes to this piece of content. Maybe change the title, figure out where I'm going to nest it under on my website, maybe add image or video or more click-to-call phone numbers, anchor links, hyperlinks, grids, tables. The options are kind of endless. And then at the end of the day, if I'm ready to publish, it will go live on my website. or maybe I can just save it as a draft for later, but this is just an example of what it would look like on the front end of your website. So just a little bit about that content library as well. Again, super helpful if you're starting from scratch with a new website, you want to just add to your existing content, or maybe you're adding a new practice area.